Hello comrades, Commissar Bro here today with Pocket Space Empire. That's right. This is a new little 4X strategy game that, although it looks a bit daunting at first, trust me it's not. It's actually pretty simple once you get the hang of what you're doing. It's not as micro-intensive as such games as Star Ruler or even what would be a good example, like Distant Worlds Universe or anything like that. It's on a much simpler scale. Yet at the same time, it feels different. It doesn't quite feel like them, which is a good thing. It kind of, rather than trying to just increase the depth of a 4X space strategy game, instead it focuses more on streamlining it and kind of taking it in a little bit of a different direction. So you're probably like, okay, well that's a horrible explanation, and to a degree it is. So hopefully I can show you through gameplay what I'm talking about. So, and I'm going to go ahead and just throw the spoiler out the window. I'm actually enjoying my time with this game so far. I've probably been playing it for the past, I don't know, what time is it? 4 hours. So I've been playing this game for about 4 hours now, and in that 4 hours I haven't accomplished much, because you are constantly fighting enemies. Oh, and real quick, just as a disclaimer, this is an alpha, a very early alpha of the game, mind you. So a lot of the graphics that you're going to see in game are indeed just placeholders, just so you know. So anyway, I'm going to try to show you how this game works. So, starting out, let's take a look at our audience. We are the Emperor of Mankind, after all. So we have an audience of people who come and try to tell us things and events. You get 10 or 12. That's 12. You get 12 every couple of turns. So you always get a victory chancellor who wants to start a ceremony, which to win the game you essentially just need to meet a bunch of criteria, and then you say yes, start the ceremony. But we're not going to do that this time. So then we've got a guard. The Emperor was poisoned. Dear goodness. We have been poisoned. So in this event, not only are we going to have -3 stability for 20 turns, but we can say bloody traitors, which all courtiers of loyalty of 4 will be fired. Or all courtiers of loyalty 6 or lower are fired. Or we could get this one. I'm going to say, you all plot to kill me, you dirty bastards. And we're going to kick them out of our court. Just so you know, this game has a court. That's right. This is our court currently. So we have a whole fresh batch of dudes that are going to come in after this turn. Yeah, and you can see the balance between the various factions in the game. Sorry, let's go back to the audience. So yeah, we're going to pick a bunch of stuff here. I refuse to deal with such nonsense. I'm very disappointed. Don't start any projects because I've pretty much gotten them all already. Here's 700 credits. Leave me alone. Very well. Very well. Yeah, we're just going right down the line on these guys. And it's not important what they're doing. It's not important. Anyway, not for now. So, yeah. You've got intelligence, which essentially is your diplomacy. You click on intelligence and diplomacy. You can do truces with the various races that surround you. Yeah, for example, to the north we've got these fellows, the Zell Collective. They're douchebags. To the bottom right, we have the frickin' Hive. I hate these guys. These are probably, aside from pirates, are the biggest opponents to humanity that I've seen so far. And they are tough little buggers. I mean, they're not that hard. If you have a decent fleet, you'll pretty much beat them. But, yeah, they're a pain in the ass. And you got a whole bunch of other different factions, all denoted by various colors. You know, your basic 4X type stuff going on. Movement in the game is restricted by star lanes. Again, something you're probably pretty familiar with. Yeah. So you have your fleets. Fleets are divided into squadrons. Let's see if I can't find one that's made up of a couple of different squadrons. Here we go. So, for example, you can see Squadron 44, Squadron 17 are currently stationed at Castadar, and they just defeated an enemy fleet that came through. That's what that 0 means. And you can click here and see, like with the red outline, that shows you battles going on in the area. If we zoom out a little bit, we can actually see that battles are going on a, in various different areas in the galaxy. It seems to be more frequent on our borders than anybody else's, but whatever. It's happening. That's what's important. You've also got finances. It's pretty simplistic in how it works. You've got various taxes you can set that affect how much money you get. You don't have it specifically to a percentage, rather a overall value. So like very low, low, average, high, very high, and it gives you a certain amount of credits. So I've got mine currently on very low because I'm trying to work for a higher happiness. As you can see, my happiness is a 62. You also get contracts. I haven't done anything with that yet, so I don't really know how that works. Industry. This breaks down your industry, which is pretty much automated in this game. You don't really have to worry about it. You can do various edicts that show how much pressure you should put in a certain thing, or like how much we should be focusing on. I feel like food is something big to focus on, hence why I've got a +2 there. We can see up here that my food coverage is 134%, so that's probably a good thing. That means everyone's getting food that needs it. Yeah. And then, like I said, products, it shows you how much you make in there and so on, you know, all that good stuff. Again, it's all pretty streamlined on industry. There's not a whole lot that you have to do there. It does it for you. Research. Alright, this one's also pretty simplistic. So, you've got research. This stuff, for example. And you can cancel it. See, I canceled that. But I've already researched this stuff. The way research works is you queue it up and it breaks up like additional things to be researched. So for example, I could just skip martial arts clubs and go for legislator, get universal justice, and so on and so forth. It's pretty simplistic. You have a certain amount that you need to get to actually research it, which is in this case 800 or 700 for happiness control. It'll take us about 10 turns to get it. Yeah, because we're getting what, plus 55? Yeah, we're getting plus 55 per turn. So that's, I don't know, it'll take us about 15, almost 20 turns to get it, but it'll happen. It'll happen eventually. But you also gain research in your other areas as well. It doesn't just apply to one. You set a primary, or you don't have a primary and gain it all evenly, or you can even set primary and then secondary or whatever. So yeah, you kind of break it down a bit more. What I like to do is I just kind of like to pick one primary and let the rest kind of go. Yeah, and you can pretty much, you can set it all the way down. There's still a lot of technologies that haven't even been added in yet, as you can see here. Alright, there we go. So that's research. Now fleet. This is something you probably want to know, because this is something that I had a little bit of trouble understanding myself when I first played. Alright, so how do you create a fleet? Well, it's surprisingly simple. What you do is you click Create Squadron. Alright, boom. So, we have Squadron 1-14 right here. If we click Details, it shows us the squadron, and we see it has no ships. But, over time, based on blueprints I've made in the shipyard, it's going to get some ships. I'm going to stack it. I want it to be a size 5, so it's going to have 5 stacks of these, essentially. Now, if we click on Shipyard, we can see how I have it set up. Essentially, I want 20 ships per squadron of Falcons. Banshees I just got, so I don't have anything set for those yet. I want 20 destroyers, or 20 Lanceferries, 10 Guardians, 10 Space Templars, and 18 Prometheuses per fleet, or per squadron. It's pretty simple stuff, right? You set it, you click it. In this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how many I want. This is the tonnage of the fleet. So yeah, if your tonnage gets too high, it starts to increase your upkeep, because essentially tonnage is maintenance. And you have a certain amount of free tonnage that doesn't cost any upkeep at all. So the bigger your fleet gets, the more money it starts to cost you, and the more materials it's going to start costing you as well. I'm making a fuck ton of minerals, so I'm not really too concerned about that. And as you can see here, to build ships, it has a little mineral value right there that tells you how much it costs. Yeah. So ships, pretty simple. It gives you a summary right here. You can also do modernization, which is essentially specializations you can throw into your fleet. You get more modernization slots by paying credits, generally 3,000. Alright, so one of the last couple things I want to show you is Colonization. Colonization is simple. You click on a planet that you border, that you've explored, and you click Colonize. It costs 3,000 credits. Just about every planet costs 3,000 credits that I've run into so far. Or 2,250. I've seen a couple planets like that as well. I don't really know if that's basically if you choose reforms, like if you choose these various things. This right here, the screen, is how you can more customize passive abilities for your empire. For example, for under freighters, how to allocate free freighters, we can set them for colonization. It makes colonization of new planets 25% cheaper. Or for the army, we could do military police, which is what I got right now, which reduces crime by 15%, gives you +1 stability, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of how you customize your race. As it stands, the only race you play as in this game is humanity, mankind. And from my understanding, that is the only one you will play. Because I guess the way they look at it is humanity is the only one that matters. All the other guys don't matter. So I don't know if they plan on adding them in later, but as it stands right now, you can only play mankind. And army. That is, I don't even understand army yet, so don't even ask me about that. I'm still working on it. Yeah. But anyway, I hope this has been a little helpful. I know I'm kind of all over the place and probably not explaining it very well. It's hard to explain this game. It's simple, but it's not simple. It's simple when you play it and you start to kind of understand how everything works. It's like, oh, okay, I got it. But until you really give it a chance and try it out a little bit, it's going to be really confusing and you're going to be a little daunted by it. But don't you worry. It's actually a lot of fun. And it's very addicting. It's a very easy to learn game, and once you doing it, it just keeps going. So I don't know. I'm a fan. I very much like this, even in its early state, and I cannot wait to see a finished product. But anyway, this has been Commissar, bro. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.